Hey, this morning I woke up at 6:30. Well, I didn't wake up at 6:30. My daughter was jabbing me in the eye at 6:30 this morning. I'd go to bed with sleep mask and she was lifting it up and jabbing me in the eye. And I looked over at her. I didn't know what time it was by then, but I looked over and I said, "What's the matter?" And she said, "I don't want to go to school, Dad." She's 3.5 and she hasn't been to school for a whole week, right? Because she's been sick. And whenever that happens, she has a bit of separation anxiety. She spends so much time with mum and dad, she doesn't want to go to school, right? So I look at her and I say, "You're afraid. Are you afraid?" And she said, "Yeah, I am." And I said, "Well, what do we do when we're afraid?" And she looked at me and she said, "We feel the fear and we do it anyway, Dad." And I said, "Yeah, we feel the fear and we do it anyway." And she said, "Yeah." I said, "So are you going to go to school?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway." Now, some of you will know that quote, "feel the fear and do it anyway," is actually the title of a book by Susan Jeffers. I read it right in the beginning of my journey to be a striver. So you're talking a decade ago. So I can't tell you if it's any good or not. But it obviously stuck with me. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And I'm raising Zia. The reason Zia knows that as a 3-year-old is I'm raising her to be okay with feeling her full range of emotions. I need her to feel that it's okay to be angry, that it's okay to be sad, that it's okay to be frustrated, that it is okay to be afraid, right? It's really important. Why? Because you and I likely weren't raised that way. We were left to float down this river of societal conditioning like a little leaf being blown this way and that, dictated by culture, belief systems, worldviews, societal conditioning, the path of least resistance, right? Like my parents never sat me down and talked to me about emotions at all. So it was left for the world to tell me what I should do with my emotions. And the world told me that it was not acceptable for me to express them. So when I was afraid, I didn't know how to deal with that fear. And very often what I did is I quit. I quit smoking. I quit drinking. I quit giving up. I quit quitting smoking. I quit quitting drinking. Right? I was a quitter. I was a classic fixed mindset person, to steal a quote from Carol Dweck's awesome book, Mindset, right? So I'm trying to raise Zia to have a growth mindset, to say to herself, well, I am going to be really afraid, but that's okay. It's human to be afraid. And I know through experience that if I'm pushed through that fear, with my dad holding my hand or being there next to me to guide me and I can trust him and I can feel that security, then I'm going to have a big smile on my face at the end of it. Because when I pick my daughter up from school, she's going to have had a wonderful time. It is the perception of an event or an action taking place that creates the fear very often. And then very often when we get into it, we actually like it or enjoy it. And the things that we don't, we can cut away from our lives, right? So the reason I'm sharing this with you is you're likely not 3.5. You're likely in your mid to late 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s. And you're really afraid right now because you have this ambivalence. You've spent the last 3 decades drinking alcohol, and now cognitive dissonance has returned and has started to jab you a little bit and poke you under your eye mask and say to you, hey, this isn't good. This isn't right. We shouldn't be drinking alcohol. Right? This is not good. I'm not a good role model for my children. I'm not a good husband or a good wife for my partner. I'm not a good son. I'm not a good employee. I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what I want to be. I've got no meaning and purpose. I've got no bucket list. I've got nothing. I'm just drifting. I'm a zombie, right? Because you've got this state of inertia. You're on this path of least resistance. You can't get off it because you're so afraid. And this is what 1000 Days Sober is all about. Because if you go 1000 days sober with us, then we will help you to feel the fear and do it anyway. It's part of what we do. It's part of our culture. We will hold your hands when you slip up. We were there to guide you when you're really worried about things. Okay? So 1000 days sober. Strive, model for change. Everything about what we do is to support each other, to be people that don't drink alcohol, to be strivers, and then to build rockets and go to Mars. Because we don't teach people to drink alcohol and live a miserable life. We teach people to stop drinking alcohol and live a fulfilled life, a life full of meaning and purpose, a life where we have a growth mindset, a life where we're feeling the fear and doing it anyway.